Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. It is Monday, well, daytime, evening, depending on where you're at, which means it is time for another review of the fantastic classic Lost in Space, the TV series. And I'd like to first of all welcome my fellow panelist, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How are you doing, Gorilla?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good there. I might have reached my goal in Minecraft, so I might maybe Thursday if I find it, I'll do a come chat as I die in Minecraft stream.
Nice. I'll try to be there for that if I'm up late enough.
Yeah, it'd be about 6:37.
Your time?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I have an appointment. I know I do Wednesday, but I don't think I do Thursday. I don't, so I should be able to be there, and I can watch along with you. And excuse me, sorry guys. Hello, Basil Battle Dragon. Basil says hello, everyone.
Yeah, hey Basil.
We'll see if people start coming in eventually here. Um, so last week we left off with the Keeper Part 1. And now we are going to be covering the conclusion, The Keeper Part 2. And this episode originally aired January 19th, 1966. And the description goes, troubles with the Keeper would be over if Dr. Smith hadn't skulked aboard his ship and released all the animals, putting the Keeper in a position to blackmail the Robinsons for their children. If you have not seen this episode, everybody, or anybody that's out there listening, I highly recommend it. I recommend the entire series in general. That's why we're covering it. I usually tend to cover things that I like, not things that I don't like. But and I know we usually save our reviews for the end, but I'm going to go ahead and spoil that by saying this is one of my favorite Lost in Space episodes. I guess I should have saved that for the end, but I couldn't contain myself, so forgive me. Hello, Sean Carter. Sean Carter says, hey, y'all, still haven't caught up to this episode, but I'm trying. Well, that's okay, Sean. I advise you to enjoy it with us if you can, and watch it on your own because I don't want to spoil anything. Obviously, we have to skip through every few seconds, so we're going to be missing some key frames. If you're watching this on the rerun, I highly recommend this show. This is the classic, not the Netflix remake. I won't say too many bad words about that because I know there are fans out there of the Netflix remake. Yeah. But this is the classic series. If you like what you see or hear, please consider hitting the like button, maybe subscribing to my channel. I cover more classic sci-fi, horror, and stuff like that. So we will be doing more. I'm going to silence my phone so it doesn't keep bugging us. There we go.
Hey, it's Scurvy.
Lemon Pie says hello. Hail all. Hello, Lemon Pie. So good to see you. Glad you could join us. Lemon Pie says howdy, Pop.
Yeah.
Howdy, Lemon Pie.
Yeah, sorry, Scurvy. I had to cut the stream short last night. They sounded the sirens about 15 minutes after the storm already passed.
A lot of good that's gonna do you, right?
Yeah. Well, you know the old saying there is they don't issue the warning until your house is 50 feet from where you built it.
Jeez. Lemon Pie says, yo, gourmet gorilla. Yeah, seriously, he's been cooking some bomb-ass food. I wish I could get some of that.
Oh, come visit Minnesota.
I'll be right there. I'll be there in about 5 minutes. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I cooked meat. But I went and bought some, so hopefully it'll be soon. Well, I still can eat meat. Because apparently with all this treatment I'm getting, it's going to be affecting my diet. But so far right now, it's a regular diet. So I think I've been very blessed and very lucky.
Yeah. And hey there, Herc.
Lemon Pie says, oh, wow, hail. I guess with a question. And Basil says, hi, Lemon Pie, welcome. Hello, Herc, good to see you. Herc 130 says, PCC. Yeah. And Basil says, hi, Sean Carter. Herc says, great.
He says GRT.
Is that short for great or no?
No, Girls Random Thoughts.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Herc 130, yeah. Hey, Lemony.
Yeah, and Scurvy, we did not get hail last night. It just poured, and then I'm guessing everything at the National Weather Service is automated because they'll issue a tornado warning every time the clouds decide to twirl.
I guess everybody just sets it on automatic and goes home, huh?
Well, there's someone there, I'm guessing everything's automated, and when the system detects something, they'll have someone double confirm what they're seeing or something.
Oh, I've been hearing reports that Maui's much worse than what the press is leading us to believe.
You mean the press actually downplayed it?
Yeah, surprise. You mean the guy that's on vacation right now?
No, usually they try to they make everything sound like it's 10 times worse than it actually is. And hey, Jill, how's it going?
Hello,
Hello.
Jill.
Going
Good to
great.
see you. Actually, when they had that big hurricane in New Orleans, they did the same thing. It was much worse than they said, and they downplayed it. And there was a big uproar about that. So it seems to be like a repeat of that. And I don't know if I read this or not, but Lemon Pie, hey Basil. Sean Carter, hey Basil. And Sean Carter says, hello, Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie says, Herc. And it looks like I don't see stream elements yet, do I? Herc 130 says, Sean Carter from Mars. And Sean Carter says, Herc 130, hello. Lemon Pie says, a siren just to say, hey, it's Minnesota. How are you doing tonight, Jill?
Just
Yeah.
fine. How are
You
you?
Okay.
You pronounce it
good.
wrong, Pop.
Huh?
You pronounce it wrong. It's Minnesota. Instead of a
Okay.
T, it's a D.
So
Minnesota.
does that mean when you say California, you have to say like literally?
I don't know. It's a thing everybody makes fun because a lot of the towns around here were settled by Norwegians.
Yeah.
So when they say Minnesota, we say Minnesota.
Yeah, I know some people have thicker accents. Like I can hear a little bit of it, but I've spoken to other people from Minnesota where it's much thicker.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming I haven't heard from him, but I'm assuming PvP will be coming along. He may be late coming home from work. Hopefully he's doing okay. Lemon Pie says, hi there, Jill.
Hey, Lemon Pie.
And Herc130 says, I am working on my garage, so I'm listening. I wanted to show my support. Well, thank you, Herc130.
Well, hopefully, Herc, I won't make you bang your head on the oil
Hello.
pan again.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. We don't want anybody to get injured tonight.
I'll be right back.
Sounds good. But I know I mentioned it a moment ago, and I'll mention it again because there wasn't a lot of people here. But today we're going to cover part 2 of the episode The Keeper from Lost in Space, the first season. And it broadcast originally on January 19th, 1966. And I've got the book here ready to go. I'm going to review a few parts of that while we go through this. I'm going to go through the chapter of the book while we go through this episode.
And this is the only two-parter of the whole series, isn't it?
Correct. Sad to say. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I thought that for a two-parter, a lot of times on TV shows when it's a two-parter, to me, it seems like they just string it out to stretch it out through 2 episodes. But this seemed pretty eventful, in my opinion. I liked it, the fact that it didn't seem like that. It was a lot of action, I thought. So I thought it was worthy of being a two-parter. And Herc130 says, oops, already showed that here. Let me hide that. And I want to ahead of time thank Jill for doing the slides. Jill always
You're
does a
welcome.
magnificent job with those, and I really appreciate it. I was so busy today, I haven't had a chance to do much. I just got home a little while ago, so thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm just getting them saved on my computer right now.
Take your time. We're actually kind of running ahead of schedule, I guess. I'm usually behind, but today I'm running a little ahead.
Nice.
Let's see, it's 16 minutes after the hour. And like I said, if you're listening on the rerun, if you enjoy what you're hearing, please consider subscribing to my channel, hitting the like button. And also, I highly recommend Gorilla's Random Thoughts channel, as well as Antiderivative Jill. Oh, that's right, Jill. Tomorrow you have Piece of the Action?
Obsession.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Gorilla and I were talking because I missed the end of your last stream. But you're going in production order. You probably went by airing order. But Obsession is good,
Right.
too. I'm all excited for that.
It will be great because Hungry Boy will be there.
Oh, wow, I haven't talked to him in a while. That'll be fun. I actually, for a change, do not have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I will be there.
Awesome.
And I'm hoping when you do cover Piece of the Action, I've got to be there. That's one of my favorites.
Okay, I'll let you know when that is.
Thank you.
Let's
And
see. Let me check my calendar.
I need to tell my doctors to start scheduling around Star Trek.
Yeah. Start scheduling things on Wednesday.
Hey, well, Pop,
Yeah.
just be glad they're getting you in right away.
Yeah, and today was my last radiation treatment, so hopefully that's a good thing.
Oh,
So now,
yeah.
yeah, it's from now on out, once every month, I'll be getting my chemo, and then we'll see what happens there. But yeah, if anything, I wish I could have them schedule it. They're actually open on Saturdays, so Thursday, Friday, Saturdays would be ideal because when it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it makes it difficult to get home in time for these streams. And I know we usually have our Gilligan's Island, and hopefully we will again this Wednesday.
Yeah.
And another thing, I want to apologize to everybody. I wasn't quite up to myself last week, so we were not able to cover Metropolis on Tuesday, and we also were not able to do Gilligan's Island on Wednesday. So I double apologize for that. And I encourage you to please join us tomorrow. As the old saying goes, come hell or high water, I'm going to do Metropolis tomorrow night. And it's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you can join us, I'd really appreciate it. It's a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, and it's been a long time, watch it again because they have a new restored version. And you'll find a link to that in my community tab on my YouTube page. And that way you can get the full uncensored version without commercials. Fully restored. It's like over 2.5 hours.
And welcome, Susan Eckstein. Or Eckstein?
Suzanne?
I think it's Eckstein.
Yeah, I think it's Suzanne Eckstein. Correct us if we're wrong or if we're right, Suzanne. But good to see you. Welcome. I recognize Suzanne from Captain Infinity's channel.
Or it could be Eckstein. You're right.
Eckstein? Frankenstein? Let's see, where did it leave off?
Yeah, she says, hello, Pops. And then
So
hi.
good.
Scurvy, hi. Hello
So
to
good
her.
to see you.
Hello to Basil. And Scurvy Pie says, hi, Susan, welcome. And Captain Infinity says, no open panels today, Pops?
I posted. Oh, that's right. You're not in the group. Hold on.
Yeah. Captain,
I'm
help me
gonna post it.
my PayPal for the link. And Herc says, I refuse to accept apologies from any apologies from Pop. Nothing to apologize for.
I'm typing with one hand. Bear with me, guys.
Yeah, Susan says, Phil's correct, Steam. And Herc says, Pop, your voice sounds good tonight.
Yeah, I actually do feel better. My lung capacity is starting to get back. So, yeah, I'm really happy. Thank you.
Yeah. And Susan says, Captain Infinity, hello. Basil says, hi, Susan. Captain Infinity says, my Twitter is dead. Oops. How about putting Captain Infinity in timeout? Captain Infinity says, Suzanne. Without Suzanne, we wouldn't be here.
I posted the link to the panel if anybody would like to join us. If you've got a good mic and a good internet connection, feel free to join us on the panel. I just pinned it.
And Suzanne is asking for a mod to drop Jill's link into chat, please.
I can do that.
And there's Basil says, hey, Captain. Hey, Captain.
Hello there.
Hello, Captain. Good to see you, sir. How are you doing?
I am operating within established parameters now. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
It was a close run thing.
I've been trying to get my hours synced with yours. I know when you have your stream, sometimes for me they're late at night, and I usually hop on and say hello right before I go to bed.
Oh, I've got massive insomnia due to stress at the moment. I'm on 24/7.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Hey, Pop, you can't make this up. You dropped Jill's link. The stream element says about the exact same time. Drop Jill's link.
Perfect. Maybe it's listening. Maybe it's finally getting smarter, huh?
You know, sometimes that happens. I introduce somebody or somebody shows up in the chat and Stream Elements puts their link.
Yeah. And Herc says, hello, CF. And he says, hello to Susan. All righty. So that's we're all caught up. We ready to rock and roll?
Ready to hit the road. Yeah. Jill's just finishing the slides up, and then we'll get started. But I do want to say hello to everybody in the chat that just joined us, and hello to Captain. Let me see. I'm trying to catch up where you are. Suzanne says, just sub to Jill. Thanks. All right. Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah. You will not
Thank
be
you so
disappointed.
much.
Yes, you will not be disappointed. Jill's got a fantastic channel. Very entertaining.
Yeah.
And plus, she's got Obsession tomorrow, the Star Trek TOS episode, if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, season 2, noon central. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I gotta say though, that Harper Valley PTA movie we watched on Sunday there was pretty good.
Yeah, you seem to enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny. Especially, I love it when they can turn a 3-minute song into a movie like that.
Yeah, from 3 minutes to 90 minutes, I guess.
Oh yeah, they showed her just getting the revenge on all of them.
Well, I think it helped that they had Barbara Eden. She was really beautiful. She still is beautiful, but yeah, I think it helped that they had her. She's got charisma.
Charisma.
And she still does. She's in her, what we were talking about yesterday, 91. And if you looked at her, you wouldn't think that. By looking at her, I would guess 60s maybe at the most. 50s, 60s. She looks fantastic, and no plastic work. So I give her credit for that. She looks fantastic, and she can still fit in that GD costume after all these decades. So here we are with the Lost Robinson family on the planet Pre-Planis. And last week, as you recalled, the nefarious Dr. Smith and our faithful robot, under the control of Dr. Smith, decided to enter the ship of the Keeper and release all the creatures that he had.
Yeah, he just pressed some random buttons.
Pressed some random buttons, and they heard some noises, and they decided better get out of there, I guess.
And welcome, Pickles. Pickles says evening.
Hello there, Job, LDG, good to see you.
Pickle.
Yeah. And Scurvy here says, oh, I was behind on the stream. Oh, yeah, that happens to me all the time. I was commenting stuff on first stream. I didn't realize I had to pause for 5 minutes while I was talking to
Lemon
the boss.
pie.
And Suzanne says, Job, hello.
Good to see you guys. So I'm glad you guys can make it. All right. And of course, there's an interlude in the book. There's a chapter called The Inner Office and Inner Mind of Irwin Allen, which, forgive me, I've got to skip past it, which is actually fascinating. I'm going to read that this week, and I'll cover some segments of that next week. It's only a few pages, but it talks a little bit more about Irwin Allen and behind the scenes. I guess with the CBS backorder for 13 more episodes of Lost in Space, Irwin Allen became something more than a television producer. He was now a TV mogul. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, now in its second year, had received its mid-season pickup as well, and ABC would soon place an initial order for 16 episodes of a third series, The Time Tunnel. While the fantasy worlds of Irwin Allen were certainly surreal, so were the inner processes of his office, reflecting the many splintered realms of his responsibilities and interests. And that is the chapter I will cover next week. But today, excuse me, we're going to do The Keeper Part 2. By the way, everybody, I put a poll in the chat. If you get a chance, feel free to vote on what grade you would give The Keeper Part 2 or what grade you would give our review of The Keeper Part 2. Last week, the poll seemed to inexplicably disappear. Let's hope that doesn't happen this week. I'm going to try to monitor it.
Does your book have anything on this weird creature at the beginning of
The bird one?
Yeah, this one. This one that just looks like a tent with the face.
I didn't even see that thing.
They showed it twice.
Yeah. It's kind of hiding behind a tree. But that's
Okay.
by design.
Oh,
I'm gonna cover it as we go through, and I'll let you know if they have something. Because honestly, I haven't had a chance to read this, so I'm reading it as we go through.
Sometimes that's more fun.
The Keeper, furious at Smith's meddling, threatens to leave them all at the mercy of the dangerous roaming animals unless they give him Will and Penny to add to his collection. They refuse, but in spite of all their precautions, he nearly succeeds in getting the children. Finally, impressed by the courage and love that the parents show for the children and their magnanimity towards him when he's in danger. Well, I don't want to get it. Actually gives a spoiler away, and I don't want to do that. This theme, according to the assessment here, Pooch. Sorry, guys. The theme is one of self-sacrifice. Don and Judy are ready to give up their freedom to spare Will and Penny from being imprisoned by the Keeper. So are John and Maureen. Meanwhile, Will and Penny go to the Keeper and give themselves up to spare the others from being preyed upon by the beasts that have escaped from the space ark. Also contributing to the theme is the one person who is not willing to make the sacrifice, Dr. Smith. We can learn by bad examples as well as good, especially when both are present in the same story. And I'm
Is that
scanning over it.
the choo-choo?
I know, right? This town is so small. That train is on the other side of town, believe it or not. So that gives you an idea of the size of the town. But I like it. It's just far enough away where it's pleasant and doesn't wake you up at night. I thought it kind of soothing.
Yeah. How are you liking small town life?
Nice. Fresh air, and we're above 7,000 feet. So it doesn't get increasingly hot like Phoenix and Tucson down below.
Yeah.
So like today it was only like 76 degrees Fahrenheit, which I thought was really perfect.
Yeah, the nice thing about the trains is they run on a schedule, so your brain gets used to their sounds, and then you're not bothered by them and can still go back to sleep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
to have your house be right next to the railroad track, your whole house shaking. Then tell me that.
Oh no, yeah, I was hoping for maybe a mile or two distance.
My town doesn't even have a railroad track. I'm actually like way smaller than Pop, and even this town's too big for me. I want to move over to the one town that has a bar, the post office, and 2 houses. Well, the house is up for sale.
That's one thing. I'm right around the corner from the post office, so if I need to walk there, that does make it handy. And I'm scanning over the chapter, and I have to disagree with. I'll cover it later because they're talking about a certain scene in here which they find intentionally or an unintentional laugh, and they said sorry-looking animal, and I kind of disagree with that. But of course, I'll explain my reasons later on, and you guys will understand. Anybody that knows me will definitely figure it out why. Fulfillment of the CBS backorder of 13 episodes start off with a bang. The Keeper Part 2, as well as its predecessor, is indeed a keeper. Part 2 of The Keeper was assigned to Barney Slater after the script for Part 1 was being polished by Tony Wilson, and the series received its pickup from CBS for additional episodes. Irwin Allen and Wilson felt the story was strong enough to be extended into a second segment. Doing so would help the company glide into the first episode of the backorder of 13. Most of the props have been designed already for Part 1, as well as special sets and wardrobe. Casting director Joe D'Acosta could shift his focus to Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and other 20th Century Fox TV series, since Michael Rennie was already booked. Jerry Briskin would have to find a giant spider, but he didn't have to look far. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea had one of those, for the episode The Monsters Web. All the producer needed was to get a script out of Slater fast. Now the Lost in Space had its pickup for the remainder of the season. The mutation of the character of Dr. Smith was now in full swing. Jonathan Harris said in an interview, "I was very subtle. I snuck in all those goodies that you saw. The story editor, Tony Wilson, was a very, very brilliant, talented man. He saw the potential of what I was doing and then had it written for me because he saw the potential and it worked." Harris was also handwriting suggested changes pertaining to his character into his copy of the script, then returning it to Tony Wilson for approval. Wilson would run the proposed changes by Irwin Allen and CBS, and then, with their blessing, send revised pages to the set to be inserted into all copies of the script. Wilson was also encouraging Slater to alter the robot's character, making it more human and comical. Slater, perhaps more than any other Lost in Space writer, would display a tendency to overhumanize the robot. At first, while Irwin Allen was in favor of learning the Smith character more toward leaning the Smith character more towards comedy, he was resistant to changing the robot.
How they met in the middle
Yeah, it
Because
is kind of like,
obviously,
and they bounce off each other good. They're a good contrast, I think.
Oh.
So making the robot too comical, I don't think would have worked.
Yeah.
yeah, me neither.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of times.
They made
Go ahead.
they allowed the robot to talk back in a logical way, and
Yes.
that made it funnier than if he were just straight up human like.
Yes.
Now, I got a question for the panel here. Do you think the censors back then hindered TV shows or made them better?
Wait, repeat that, please.
You know how the censors were full? They're like, for example, they couldn't say exterminate, so you had to say
Destroy.
destroy. Do you think that hindered shows, or do you think they made them better?
Well, but from the examples, in my opinion, from the examples that I've read that we've covered so far in the previous episodes, it seems to make them better, but there's also faults to it, like not allowing Maureen and John to kiss. I thought it was a little overboard, you know? But sometimes the suggestions, like remember the episode where Will was supposed to get ran over by the chariot, but instead they decided, because the censors didn't want that, to have that plutonium bomb come crashing down to the ground. So because of that, we got a really good cliffhanger. So I think it kind of balances out. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it provides a challenge, but I like how sometimes the writers can get around it, like not wanting to put the women in danger. Well, in this episode, the mother gets to go out on her own and look for the children. So
Yeah, Mama Bear came out. Mama Bear.
mhm. So that was
Yeah.
that was good. They let that pass.
Okay. Now,
Should we
sorry.
catch up real quick?
That would be perfect. Thank you, Gorilla.
All right. Scurvy says, hello, Captain. And Scurvy says, hello, hi, Job. Suzanne says, Captain Finley, finally somewhere I don't have to work, LOL. I can sit back and enjoy the show. Suzanne says, Scurvy, how have you been doing? It's been a while. Hen chat was the last, I think. And Scurvy says, my attention will be shattered for much of the stream, unfortunately, tonight.
Scattered.
Oh, I like shattered better. Well, it's not too scattered.
Well, shattered usually means a bad thing. Scattered just means that probably distracted. I'm guessing.
Welcome to I like the way I read it better. Screw the actual chat.
Right. Correct the person that wrote it and say you're wrong.
Hey, isn't that how things work nowadays?
Yep, I guess so. It's called gaslighting.
My feelings don't care about your facts. Scurvy says, hi, Suzanne. Like everyone else, ups and downs. I've seen you in Hens. I think also some other places from time to time, Dadman. And Suzanne says, okay, thumbs up. I just subbed to all linked in the chat. Well, thank you, Suzanne.
Very cool. Yeah, thank
you're
you,
the best.
Suzanne. Yeah, you will not be disappointed, Suzanne. You're gonna have a blast. Hello, Phantom Boomer.
Phantom Boomer. Exterminate. Defenestrate. Subliminate.
Good
Hello,
to see
Phantom
you,
Boomer.
Phantom Boomer. Yeah, glad you could join us, Phantom Boomer.
And Suzanne says hello to Phantom. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. And let me cover this really quick. This harkens back to what I said a moment ago about the conflict between them wanting to write the robot as more comical. It says on December 16th regarding Slater's second and final draft teleplay, Alan wrote, Part 1, the teaser, the robot's lines are not written according to its usual characteristic fashion. They are too conversational, too human. Part 2, Scene 6. Smith's last line should be more terrified and possibly funnier. Teaser should end on a shot of some terrifying monster about to attack Smith and the robot. Part 22, Scene 105. The keeper says he can call the animals back except for those who have been destroyed by the other animals. This statement is a direct contradiction of his speech in Scene 103. The keeper should show his anger at what has happened to his wild animals. It is what such stupidity deserved, or that it took him years to assemble his collection and will probably take as long this time. That's what I was wondering too. He was going to mention, it took me decades or centuries to collect all these animals, but he didn't seem to mention that. Wilson made the changes, adding in the large flying creature at the end of the teaser, prompting Smith to scream and dive for the ground. then having the keeper become angered over the release of his animals. But some notes, such as Alan asking to keep the robot more robot-like, were ignored. As it was happening with Dr. Smith and the robot, Wilson was also going through a metamorphosis. He was testing the waters as to what he could get away with. In contrast, Alan was the reactive personality type. His reactions were sudden and often extreme. But come a day or two later, whatever was so important to him earlier was no longer an issue. This gave Wilson great freedom in leading the series in the direction he saw fit, and Wilson loved comedy. So for all of us who have seen all 3 seasons, that explains a lot, right? Which I guess on the panel, I think maybe it's just myself. Because PvP's not here yet.
Where is PvP?
Hopefully he's all right. I
Wash
haven't
day
heard
today,
from him.
Nothing clean, right?
Well, he said yesterday was wash day, I thought.
Nothing clean, right?
Could be at work still.
Yeah, talking to Debbie in accounts.
Well, Jill's here is being a sweetheart, putting all of our links in the chats for us.
Thank you, Jill. Yeah, that is very kind of you.
One of my favorite things to do. You're welcome.
Yeah. And Boomer here says, hello, Suzanne. And we know everybody's links here. Here's back to Boomer's links, Skogly's links, Pickles' links Underground, Jill's link, or Captain Affinity's link.
That's it.
And my
Thank
link.
you.
All right. Yes, definitely check out Gorilla's Random Thoughts channel, everybody. So here we have Don and Professor Robinson. I'm not going to call them Don and John because when you're listening over the internet, that may sound too confusing or too similar. So I usually go by Don and Professor Robinson when they're in a scene together. But here they are working, doing their daily duties. And suddenly they're attacked by a giant lizard.
An iguanodon.
The iguanodon, which they're assuming that is probably the one from the last episode, but it's all grown up now.
Well, John's the one that came up with that there.
Yes.
That grows fast.
It was funny. They probably used the same lizard and they just, you did the force focus to make it look giant. That way it would match. And I think the effects look pretty good. I actually like the effects. I like Go ahead, Jill.
They throw this tiny pipe at it. Were they really throwing things at these poor lizards?
Well, I thought about that too, but it was probably like a cardboard tube or something.
Well, maybe the lizard came into there within aiming range or throwing.
Yeah, that's true. So
hey, I have to be right back, so I have to stay on this frame for a little while.
Sounds good. So Professor Robinson and Don make haste back to the Jupiter 2, quickly run inside, and activate the force field.
Did they ever explain why the lizard got so big?
I think they said maybe it grew. I don't know if they said how or why, but I think when I know we're not looking at the text or the subtitles, but I think Professor Robinson said something along the lines, maybe it's the same one, but it grew.
He's a pinball lizard.
Oh, this is something that Jill was asking about. So I'll cover this when she comes back.
No CGI was used in the making of this lizard.
No, definitely no CGI then. They would be like CGI. What's that?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
how long
Gorilla.
do they keep the force field up before it goes down?
I don't know if they've ever mentioned how long it stays charged. But I know in this episode, I'm glad you brought that up, but in this episode, they actually discuss Professor Robinson maintaining the force field, working on it, and saying that it should last another, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, but I don't think it can continuously stay up there because I don't think their solar panels would be that good.
Well, remember, was it the first episode or two? It was a portable force field. They had to charge it, remember? Carry it outside and put it in front of the Jupiter 2. It had like a gun thing that you point, kind of like in Forbidden Planet. So I guess now we're assuming that the force field is built into the Jupiter 2 itself. Or maybe they repaired it. Maybe it wasn't working before, and so they've since repaired it.
Maybe.
Oh, hey, that is a good question. You're talking about the force field machine? We don't see it.
Yes. No, we don't see it, and they just seem to activate it from inside the ship now. And they're implying, I'm guessing they're implying that the whole ship is surrounded by a force field, rather than it being a device that's sitting out in front of the ship.
The device made a little more sense. It reminded me of Forbidden Planet.
I agree. Yes, I agree. In Barry Slater's final draft, the miniature horror scene in part one made a return. The possibility of the horse remaining in the series as one of Penny's pets was established. But after the trouble with the dog, and one of our dogs is missing, delays in filming as well as the cost of the animal and its handler, were now nixed the idea and the scene was removed. Debbie the Bloop would remain Penny's sole pet in an effort to save time and money. Even she would be seen less as the series progressed.
Oh, so the keeper takes back the unicorn.
Yes.
That's too bad. It was cute.
So it looks like apparently the good news is the force field is strong enough to hold back the giant reptile. There we go. Now we've got our subtitles. And of course, like I said, everybody, we have to skip through every few seconds or so. So you might be missing some of the text. So I recommend you watching this on your own when you get a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a way different experience to just actually watch this.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know if I mentioned it to Gorilla before we started the stream, but when it comes to music, this is one of my favorite episodes. The music is outstanding in this.
Yeah.
It really shows John Williams at his top game when he was really young, but you could tell why he got the job doing Star Wars and Indiana Jones and everything else. Go ahead, Gorilla.
Yeah. All right, we got a few chats here.
Before we do that, I kind of really like this quote by Dr. Smith. An intelligent conversation with oneself is so much more rewarding than a discussion with adult because he's been talking to himself.
Amen.
And then Don's response is, now, if it's at all possible, could you tear yourself away from yourself?
Alrighty. Scurvy here says, thank you, Jill. Boomer says, we run together, then I shoot you in the leg, just saying. Well, why start running? Just shoot him in the leg, then just walk away. Then Boomer says, Scurvy! Then Scurvy says, Herc, remind me what your car channel is called.
And Herc, is Herc a mod so he can put a link in the chat?
Yeah. Herc says, Boomer, there is my partner in crime. Sean says, I think it stays up for 24 hours according to one of the episodes. Well, I can't believe I actually contributed. Aha.
Herc 130, I just made you a mod if you want to post links to your channel.
I didn't realize Herc 130 had a channel. I'm going to save that.
Yeah. And Herc says, my Mach 1 for life.
That's the one. Yeah, he's been working on that car of his.
Yeah,
and also, if you don't, I have Stream Elements bot, which randomly posts everybody's names and link to their channels. If you're in the chat right now listening to me and you don't see your name pop up on that, please let me know so I can add it. Because I always like to promote everybody's channel that comes to visit us.
Alrighty. Then Sean says, or Phantom Boomer here says Herc. And Sean says, Boomer, hola. Then Scurvy Hero is nice enough to put his channel in there for him. And Boomer says, Senor Qatar. And Scurvy says, Herc's card channel, thumbs up. And Sean says, Herc subbed. Cool. And Suzanne says, Captain Infinity, damn it, I left for a second to check something and got tossed another wrench, LOL.
Oh, you got a necklace of wrenches. They're like bones, aren't they? Weighing you down. Oh, the responsibility, Suzanne.
Bones of your victims.
No, you shouldn't have to do too much on this channel. We don't get it. We don't get the Russians are too busy to send their bots this way.
Yeah, we've been lucky so far.
I haven't seen the bots at all, even on the big channels lately.
Yeah, even when I had like 8 people watching one of my watch parties there, I didn't have one.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
don't
what
remember the
happened
last
to
time
the
I saw one.
sex bots?
Kind of miss them a little bit.
A little bit.
Feel a little lonely there, Jill?
I like to destroy them. It
Yeah,
is
you
fun.
need some Russian company there.
I'm glad to see that they're being
Oh,
proactive
there's
though,
a
and dealing
T-shirt.
with
I
them.
like to destroy sex bots. That's a T-shirt. That's a quote in my forthcoming comic book now.
Well, there you go, Hurt. Or not Hurt, Captain. Make it a shirt.
Okay. Yeah, Herc is definitely wrenched now.
Suzanne,
So.
if you see any sex bots, destroy them.
Mash them.
And of course, Dr. Smith is acting like he's none the wiser. He has no idea why there's a giant lizard outside the ship. When we all know it's his fault and his doing, and he knows it very well.
He's pretending he just woke up.
Yes.
Hey, something late has its advantages.
Snide look. But of course, they doubt him, which is good. I'm glad because it shows they're not completely naive. So that's when they say you're not exactly George Washington with the truth.
Mind you, neither was George Washington anyway.
Yeah, I think that was heavily exaggerated.
The whole thing about the cherry tree was a myth. The story
Uh-huh.
about him being honest was a lie.
I would not doubt that at all. Especially when we see how malleable and how much they change history for their fitting right before our very
Malleable, our
eyes.
own timeline. They're trying to make actual history malleable. Oh, the irony.
Well, the next generation won't even. They'll say World War II. What's that? Pearl Harbor. What's that? So yeah, it's a disgrace. But that's another topic for a different day, I suppose.
Isn't it?
And now we have the Keeper arrive just in time, using his staff powered by cosmic power to call back the lizard.
Did anybody else notice that its power seemed to be weakening?
I think it fluctuates, like it dims and gets brighter. I'm not sure.
So it's so funny for something so powerful. You can just knock it out, just knock it over, and it just experiences a little bit of kinetic force, and it dies.
Right,
Hey,
stops
they
working.
got a
Right.
slingshot in the last episode.
Right, a
Right.
primitive weapon destroyed it.
Right. But apparently he made a new one, or he has spares.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
he
Yeah,
always
he
has
has like
spare.
a trunk of these. in his-
like an umbrella holder. He's got
I
like 3 or 4
changed
staffs.
the bulb.
Yeah, change the bulb.
So how many? What would you call this guy? What did they ever mention the species?
The iguanodon or the keeper?
the
The
keeper.
keeper. Now,
I
how
don't
many
believe they
pieces take the change the bulb on the staff?
Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned his species. In fact,
I don't recall.
yeah, what I've noticed, as you guys have also noticed, that it's very rare when they identify species in this series with a name. That's why whenever I read from the books, it's always like fuzzy monster and 2-headed monster and stuff like that. Bird monster.
I'm fine with the species called fuzzy. Fuzzy monster.
Yeah, the fuzzy monster was good from last week.
Hey there, Mini.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, tell Mini antiderivative hi. Oh, while we're waiting for her, Scurvy says Herc is wrenched now. Herc, do what you must be done. Show no mercy. Do not hesitate.
There you
Smash the sex bots.
Yeah, Susan says I'm ready to open up my own garage. LOL. Susan says I'm no mod here, Captain Finity. LOL.
What?
Check
Surely
the
some
dude's hair.
oversight.
Apparently, she said check the dude's hair for some reason. And Stream Elements is promoting my channel here for watch parties, shorts, and reviews. And Susan
Can
says,
we get a wrench for Suzanne Eckstein, please? Can we get a clean up on R2 and a wrench for Suzanne Eckstein? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. He says, thankfully, I have taught my 14-year-old boy the truth of history. Well, you ever notice that with history there, it's always the good guys that win the wars?
Well, depending on who the good guy is, who's telling you the story.
What about
Oh,
the
no,
fall of Constantinople? That history was written by the losers.
Yeah.
Ah.
And Scurvy says,
And they started the Renaissance, arguably.
Yeah. And Scurvy says, I bypassed the bulb. And here is Sean Carter's channel for his fantastic model work.
Absolutely,
Sean
everybody. I
Carter
highly
of
recommend
Mars.
Sean's channel. He's got a lot of subs.
Hang on
He's
a
really
minute.
moving up there.
He's walking right through the force field. I'd get my money back on that fucking thing. Pardon my French, but I gave you one job, force field. Don't let people walk right through it.
So is he too powerful or more powerful than the force field, or did they just forget? I'm guessing.
That is
Well,
some weak ass force field, literally.
He can control energy, so he
That's
can
possible.
control energy.
I get my money back from the force field store. That thing's rubbish.
Now when
Just
he can,
call yourself a force field, you can keep out a net.
well, now when he can control energy,
You can control a sandwich.
He could control the weather.
I want to explain the scene that we just saw according to the script, because it varies differently from what we actually saw. In Barry Slater's final draft, the miniature horse you see in part 1 made a return. Oops, sorry. The assault on the Robinsons and Don and Smith wasn't only carried out by land animals, but also from the air. In one scene, while Maureen, Smith, Penny, and the miniature horse are outside Jupiter 2, a huge dark shadow is moving toward them. Smith's eyes widen. He points and exclaims, "Look!" The huge dark shadow moves overhead. It emits a high-pitched scream. The group immediately huddles together. Penny exclaims, "What a horrible-looking bird." Maureen says it was big enough to carry off an adult. Smith speaks with urgency. "Ladies, let us go inside immediately." Maureen shivers and says, "Perhaps we'd better. Strange, I suddenly feel frightened." "Come on, Penny." Penny gives the small horse a final hug, and they head up to the Jupiter 2 ramp. So that was from the script, and then we just covered what it actually ended up being, because they had already decided to ditch the horse, apparently. So that's why it's different. Okay, here. Don't want to delay us too much.
Right, but then they decided no horse with a unicorn horse for you.
Yes.
A unicorn horse, is that like a cross? Is it got a small horn?
Yeah, it's like a Shetland pony with the horn.
Yeah, a little fuzzy horse.
A unipony.
I don't know. Ask Dalek.
I'll try.
So this is where the keeper is letting them know how upset he is that they release the animals. And he's explaining to them that he pretty much has a built-in lie detector. He doesn't use those exact words. But he says by touching their hands, he'll know whether they're telling the truth or not. So, of course, naturally, the first thing he does is he picks the most innocent person in the group, which is Maureen. And, of course, first she hesitates, but then she extends her hand. And he touches it, and he realizes, of course, as we all know, she's innocent. She did not release the animals.
When you say it like that, you make it seem like she was the control.
That's what I think, because it's like he almost intentionally he said, "I'm going to go to who I know didn't do it, and I'm going to go to who I know did do it," because he went right from her to Dr. Smith. Maybe that's his way of trying to act like he's trying to be fair.
Yeah, makes sense.
And of course, Dr. Smith is being much more hesitant. He doesn't want to touch anything. He doesn't want to be convicted, of course. And he's got guilt written all over his face as usual. And he starts making excuses. But
Well,
only. Go ahead, Jill.
Even when he is found out, he doesn't apologize.
Nope.
He doesn't even own up that it was an accident. He's like, "Oh well, I meant to do it like that because of XYZ."
Yes.
For the group.
Like a true narcissist, never apologize.
Exactly.
And here's where the keeper tells him that he knows he's guilty.
Well, they
And
told him
here's
to
what-
look at his belt.
Right, and this is where he had, like Jill said, he doesn't apologize, but he says, "Yes, I let the creatures go, hoping that." I know it doesn't make much sense, but that because that space arc is supposed to be enormous, but according to Smith's logic, he let all the monsters go so that there'd be room aboard of that ship for the Robinsons. I mean, obviously there would have been plenty in the first place, but who would want to get aboard the ark? I doubt he's going to end up taking them back to Earth anyway. So, you stumbling fool! Hundreds of
You
animals.
stumbling fool! Do you realize what you've done?
Yeah,
I
like
am
the-
required. I'll be back in a moment.
Oh yeah, sounds like it.
That sounds like someone needs an ass whooping. Cry.
It might be dinner time for them or something like that. We'll see. Was it 9 o'clock for her? 9 p.m.
Yeah. All right. Let's catch up on chat then, real quick.
Sounds good. Thank you, Gorilla.
I got to figure out where we are because it keeps jumping on me. Suzanne says we have one channel that streams shows of repairing history. Cool. Herc says, Scurvy, Oppenheimer was an optimist. I am ready. LOL.
We definitely won't set light to the atmosphere. Come on, boys.
Oh, he was an optimist.
Oh.
Yeah, he said, "Well, definitely. I'm sure we can destroy Japan."
Yeah, I'll wait for these two here to get back for Jill. And Suzanne says, Matt G, hello.
Hello,
And
Matt
Jackie
G.
says hello.
Good to see you, Matt G. Glad you could be here.
All right, I'll wait for those to come back
Hello, Matt G.
for Jill to get them back for those two.
And now here's where the keeper warns them that since Smith let the animals loose, that they're going to be in constant peril day and night because the animals are now all over the entire planet.
Yeah. And welcome, OG.
Hello, Orla Greg. Good to see you. Glad you could be here. There we go. Good to see you, Orla Greg.
Hola, Greg.
And Suzanne says, hello, Greg.
Yes. Hello, Greg. All right.
Oh.
Let's see if go ahead.
Hey, PvP.
There's PvP. Backstage. Oh,
I got it.
thank you.
Can you hear me? Is my mic working?
Yes, it is. There you are.
Hey.
Oh, sorry. Oh, give me a second. I
very
got
own Dr. Hibbert.
There we go. I just had to kill my YouTube sound. It was getting an echo. Sorry I'm so late tonight, guys, but I had to work a little later, an extra half hour. That didn't help. And then, of course, as soon as I get home, about 40 minutes ago, I was just going to come on, and I think I even typed hi into the chat. And of course, like 3 seconds later, my internet died.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, so I've been sitting here for like 40 minutes thinking, well, am I going to do something else tonight, or am I ever going to get on the Lost in Space stream? Because yeah, it's a third with Rogers, which is the big Eastern company, right? The big cable company. Bought out Shaw, which is the big one out west here. They bought them out, basically took them over. And ever since then, like the last couple of months, this is like the third time now that I've lost internet. And it'll just go out with no warning, right? And one time it was out for like 4 hours. And it's really...
Have you considered Starlink?
I don't think we have that here.
Well, they're in the sky.
That's
That's what...
Yeah.
I tell them not to advertise, but they had me at, we're going to completely bypass New Zealand. Or I'm in. You're not going to, no dependency of New Zealand infrastructure. No, just a satellite to you, Captain. Come on in, Elon. Let's go.
Yeah.
How'd that turn out for you?
Yeah. Are you on Earth PvP? Then Starlink's probably available to you, but it's not for me to advertise. Elon, you've got enough money. Shut up. I'm trying to help you, though, because we want you here.
That's satellite, right? So...
Yeah, it's Elon
I
Musk
thought it was
project.
pointless. It's faster than the actual internet. Well, it is out here.
Yeah, I don't know if you even have it here available in Canada. I'll have to look
Well,
it up.
do you have a thing above you called the Sky?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know what it is? No, when you go to their website, it tells you.
But
to
it
put
might
in
not be
your postal
available
code.
in your area.
Right.
Check
It tells you to put in
That's
the
it.
more details.
I'd have to check into it. I've been thinking
Yeah.
of switching over to TELUS, the other major provider out here anyway, because my boss announced suddenly, like 2 weeks ago, that she's going to be shutting the office down next
They can
month.
work from home. They've got
And
to
we're
pay
all
for your
gonna work
internet
from
then.
home.
They've got to buy you a satellite PvP.
Well, they're going to set me up with a computer and a couple of a couple
They
of screens.
better,
but
and a coffee machine,
that'd be nice.
wouldn't
And
it?
a cute assistant to make the coffee. That'd be even better.
There you go. What about Debbie from accounts? She could move in with you.
No, I
All
think
problems are solved.
I don't think anything's ever going to happen with Debbie. That's all right.
I know the feeling. It's never going to happen with Jessica either. Oh well, there's always alcohol.
Oh boy.
I know, right?
So you guys are what, like 2/3 of the way through the episode or something? I'm guessing.
Half, maybe. I'm thinking.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
No, it's not too bad. No, maybe not
You
even
missed the
half.
giant lizard PvP.
Yeah, I saw the
Oh,
giant
good.
lizard. I watched it last night, actually. The episode.
Well, that's the scene we're at PvP where the keeper just got rid of the giant lizard.
No
Yeah.
CGI. How the fuck did they make that giant lizard thing? There's no CGI.
Oh, that's good old
Imagination. That's how
Wow.
practical effects.
I could see the
adorable.
lizard. It was huge.
practical lizard effects.
Poof.
You not
I wanna
only
know-
act like a fool, you talk like one.
I
That's
wanted to
No,
mention
but back to the show.
it
something
sure
about
does.
this. I want to mention something about the script here really quick. Once Barney Slater fulfilled his contract, Tony Wilson took over and did a fair amount of rewriting. As Slater had left the original script, we never again see the Keeper after the end of Act 3, when he's attacked by a large tentacle creature, which we'll see, and slumps to
Oh,
the
yeah.
floor of the spaceship. The situation is never resolved. Also, Marie doesn't go out looking for the children, but leaves that to John and Don. Therefore, there was no scene in which Marie finds the Keeper on the floor of his ship. And because of her compassionate treatment, he realizes that people from Earth are indeed an advanced and worthy race. With the Keeper out of the picture throughout the entire fourth act, as originally written, if they would have left it, there was no scene where he used his staff to drive off the, well, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but the giant tentacle creature.
Oh,
But
we
with
know
his
he's
face-
not going to kidnap the children.
Right,
Oh.
right.
Hey, Jill, I got a chat for you to read.
Matt G says, Jill. Hi,
I
Matt
get-
G.
I get the feeling Matt G's
Gee.
a fan somehow. I don't know.
We are the others.
Gotta love the fans.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Suzanne says PvP, hello.
Hey, Suzanne.
Boom.
And OG says cloudy with the chance of meteorites.
Oh.
Brothers meatballs. And OG says a spider pulled out the plug PvP.
Yeah, I think
Remember, above the ionosphere, they're meteors. When they hit the ground, they become meteorites. All right.
Yeah, and Suzanne says PvP, yes, we have Starlink here.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
She must be
Oh.
Canadian. She must be Canadian.
Yeah, I
And
think he is.
yeah, here is Pickles backstage for all your IT help and your place to hang out. And welcome, Mad Scientist. Good evening, everyone. Just stopping in to show some love. Have a great
Well,
week.
Mad
all.
Scientist, glad you could join us. We need to talk
Hey.
later.
Hey, Matt.
Oh, Mad
Hello.
Scientist, you missed my tornado warning last night there. And Basil says, yo, Euler Greg. Suzanne says, Mad Scientist, hello. Kirby says, hey, Euler. Then the OG says, the Telosians have awesome internet, seemingly, but they use telepathic techniques.
Yes, that's from Star Trek.
Telosians.
And OG says, hail, mighty dragon. And Scurvy says, PvP, hey, bud. And
Hey, Lemon.
that's hello, says Scurvy.
Actually, telepathic internet would probably be more reliable than what I have here some days, it seems.
Well, unless you get drunk.
Telepathic, I knew you were going to say that.
Jonathan Harris kept increasing the level of comedy. He admitted, I began to do a little collusion with the story editor. Now it can be told. I said to the story editor, now why don't we do a little number? You know, we've got that crazy robot. I'd like to play some games with that robot. I would like to imagine him as a human being. I want to name him. I want to name him Claude. CLAWD.
Oh, no. I'm glad
And
that
somebody,
didn't happen.
right, and somebody in the no humor department said Claude. And that was the end of that.
Yeah,
But then it
thank
became
goodness.
the show that you saw, Billy and Claude and I, and that was the way that it worked and went. How did I pattern that part? It is a creation of mine which I am inordinately proud. I have to tell you, I'm very proud of the man. I dreamed of what you saw. I patterned him after every kid I had ever known. Quite seriously, you know what kids look like when they're upset? That's what I did. Which makes sense because that's what he does. He acts like an adult child.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
basically. Yeah.
Right. I wept, I cried, I lied, and I was idol of every child in the world because I got away with it. Then I knew I had to use a robot for my ends. I dreamed up the alliterative bald-headed booby and Neanderthal ninny and the parsimonious puppet. That was one of my favoriits.
Yeah, he has some good ones for the robot. Yeah.
Pusillanimous pipsqueak and things like that.
Nice. Pusillanimous pretend best friends.
You know, it's interesting that an actor in the '60s could be more creative, lyrically, putting those sayings together than modern writers these days. They couldn't come up with anything nearly as clever as that.
No, but that built up a dictionary. What does that mean? What does that mean? What is that?
Right,
Oh,
these
dictionary.
days,
Wait, what's
me
a
not
dictionary?
like you, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You
here's
guys
what I
are
wonder-
way behind the times. AI is writing all the scripts now.
I know.
I like writers that are good with their vocabularistics and such like.
I wanted to mention here, this is something referring to what Jill was bringing up earlier about the bird. When they were filming the teaser scene, Keeper ordered Smith to give bits of Robinson to give to children, then joined by John and Marie, and the Keeper refusing to accept the parents in exchange for the children. Moving to stage 6, they filmed the remaining portion of the teaser. As Smith and the robot sneak onto the Keeper's ship, remember, everybody, it was a reminder in case you're not aware, for TV and movies, things are not always filmed in sequence. So mid-filming is when they actually film the teaser mid-episode. So moving to stage 6, they filmed the remaining portion of the teaser. As Smith and the robot sneak onto the Keeper's ship, then moments later, rush out, pursued by, and here's our names of the monsters: the two-headed bush, the Cyclops, the Rubberoid, and Gilman's bat. The names of the unthanked stuntmen inside these outfits are lost to history, a fact they might approve. So that's it. It's Gilman's bat, Jill, the bird.
Oh, it looks like Jill's away actually, Pop.
Oh, well, I'll have to make sure to repeat that.
I did get to hear it. I will be right back.
Go for
All
it.
right. So Scurvy says, "Hello, mad scientist," and Herc says, "Hi, Captain." Well, Scurvy says, "Captain, I knew no one would laugh at the telepath joke."
Oh, very good. I knew that you'd know that, but I knew that you were laughing inside your head.
Yeah.
Someone noticed the joke, and that
I
means
knew
a lot
that you
to
knew.
me.
That's a good comment, Lemon. That's funny.
Wow.
He does have a
Read it.
rather interesting
Read
hairstyle,
it.
doesn't he? All attempts to defeat this villain bounce off his hair. Michael Rennie does have a pretty good head of hair for a man of his age, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And we don't know, honestly. I haven't seen pictures of behind the scenes, if that's his real hair or not. They had hair pieces back then. Look at William Shatner.
It looks pretty convincing, though, I got to say, if it is.
What's that? They had hippies. Look at William Shatner.
Yeah, we've covered in Jill's stream how much time they had to spend on his hair before every episode was filmed.
When did he actually start to lose his hair? Was it like halfway through the
1953.
series? Or?
I'm not sure exactly when.
Because I never really noticed it personally. Like his hair always looked fine to me. So if they did have a hairpiece, they did a pretty good job on it, I'd say.
Well, right. Well, he's like Burt Reynolds. He never stepped in front of a camera without the hairpiece.
Okay. Oh boy.
Basically, William Shatner's hairpiece was technically a stunt double. Got its own paycheck.
Ah.
Yeah, especially T.J. Hooker.
Yeah,
He had his
well,
own union.
And
Somebody's cutting out. Is it me or is it PvP?
yeah, and Susan says, "Scurvy, exactly. I know I wasn't the only one going nuts on the dude's hair. LOL." OG says, "Like and subscribe or risk PvP moving in with you to get better internet."
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, as long as you pay half the bills. OG says, "Hi, Lemon." Scurvy says, "Suzanne, his hair is made of an alien element." And Susan says Captain Infinity Clobby is also streaming live at. Oh,
Too many streams. I'm with Pops.
yeah.
That's
Here's
out
Oiler
of,
Greg.
courtesy, out of courtesy, everybody, please don't advertise the live streams during our streams.
But thank you,
And I promise I'll
Suzanne.
return that
Not
favor
here,
to you.
Suzanne. Not here.
Yeah, and Oiler Greg says this
Especially
Oiler
for
Greg
somebody who
channel.
loathes me.
Yeah, Oiler Greg's spoiler-free
Not sure of that.
channel. Or where'd PvP go? I don't think I scared
Oh,
about
well,
that.
Where
It's not
didn't
an internet
PvP go? Am I right?
I don't want that ever explained.
So I believe we're still on the scene where he just put away the large lizard, right? I apologize
Yeah.
to everybody in the chat. You're probably
Yes.
wondering what's going on and why we haven't moved.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where the keeper pretty much gives them a warning, a stern warning, and as a punishment, he's going to leave all the animals there so the Robinsons can fend for themselves. But I do like
Unless-
What is that small ingredient to make love?
Yes, that one compassion too, besides anger. You always have to have. That's what I like about Maureen is she always has a compassionate part. A lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's true though. Children do need love growing up.
Yes, and discipline. I guess it's kind of a balance. You got to know. Yeah, as a parent, you have to know when and how much.
Definitely.
And here's where basically John Robinson's saying, "No, don't mess with us, or you'll have quite the fight on your hands."
But this guy, he just wants to collect the children. He wants to put them in the zoo.
Yes, and he thinks that by Smith letting them loose, the animals loose, that's a good excuse to get the kids. And of course, everybody starts heading back into the ship, and he immediately beckons Smith back out there. And Smith wakens up from the trance, and he's dazed, and he realizes he's the only one left alone with the keeper. And as you can see, he's deeply concerned. Miserable creature, of course. Just don't insult Dr. Smith. He doesn't like that, of course.
And he'll do that.
So
Yeah,
here's
no
the
problem.
exactly.
I still love this way of communicating when you pick up the phone. So instead of saying
Yes.
hello, you wish to communicate. I do.
Yes.
Then proceed.
Hey,
It cracks me up every time.
I'm gonna answer my phone from now on like that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's interesting too because remember now, everybody, this is before we had FaceTime and all that garbage.
You don't not a fan of the FaceTime then?
No, well, because I'm not exactly looking my prettiest. I'll put it that way. I'm sure other people look fine, but it's just not for me. And here's where he tells his commander, or I don't know, they never really identify who this old. Do you guys remember? Did they ever say who this guy is? Right?
His
They
handler.
don't.
His handler.
Handler.
Yeah,
So that's the keeper's handler.
yeah, that's a good term for him.
The CEO of the zoo.
lighting.
Yes.
Yeah,
he tells
no,
him-
Lost in Space is very good at having scenes in the dark that are well lit. I mean,
Right.
Mm.
Well, and honestly, too, and as you guys know, I'm not going to knock the series because I like it, but also by doing this, it helps hide budget restraints. That's why another reason why I'm more of a fan of black and white than I am color. Because
okay.
when we get to color episodes, you'll see everything is just going to pop out in the backgrounds on every episode.
Yeah, and doing it this way, you don't have to dress up the set too much.
Correct. And here's where he explains to the guy on the other end of the telephone, whatever it's called for lack of a better word, that he wants the kids and he's going to use the animals that have been roaming loose as a bargaining chip. And by the way, when he left Dr. Smith back at the Jupiter 2, he told Dr. Smith to come back to his ship later that afternoon, and he gave Dr. Smith a small orb or ball that would make him impervious to these creatures of assorted sizes. And
Hey, are you sure Michael Westmore didn't design the prosthetics for all these lizard heads?
it's funny you mentioned that because he made Michael Westmore, who did TNG, was probably a child at the time. I'm guessing, like we were. Speaking for myself, that is. But the Westmore family, from what I was reading, I think they've been in the business for years. So his family may have been in the business at the time.
Oh, wow, I didn't really know that. I was just making a joke.
Yeah, I was reading about that when we did that one stream where I was comparing makeup, one of my first early streams.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
All right. And I got to, what I'm doing, bear with me, guys. I'm gathering together a few behind the scenes photos here from the
Look at that lizard. Look at that thing. That's real.
I'd buy it. And apparently this sphere, well, keeps Dr. Smith brave. As long as he has this thing, the animals won't attack him.
And we got to, of course, now this being an Urban Allen production, I'm sure a lot of these are clips from his various movies that he made before this episode. Because he was known for not only reusing props over and over, but also stock photos and film. Okay, that picture didn't go
sorry
through.
about that. Normally I mute when I'm typing.
Oh, you're fine. I didn't even notice. I guess I'm distracted. I'm trying to get a picture here of the book. It's so hard to get an angle without a shadow on it.
Oh, here, just a sec. Suzanne, I hope you can stick around, but if not, we understand. She said the electric company is about to do a supposed scheduled power outage for repairs, so I may.
Dastard electric company.
Catch you on the flip side, Suzanne.
Yeah. Here, I'm just going to catch up on chats, even though PvP ditched us.
Well, PvP, if you're out there in the ether and you can hear us, please come back as soon as you can.
And Scurvy says PvP as a roommate, never run out of eggnog.
Nope.
And
actually, with PvP as a roommate, you're always going to run out of eggnog.
My bad.
Yeah, then
No
Suzanne says, my bad. Sorry, I retracted. All right. OG says PvP is scratching at my window. He wants in and flying. I think he's a vampire. And Kirby says, no biggie, Suzanne. Every channel is a learning curve a little bit. OG says, he's draining my precious internet data. He is a digital vampire. Kirby says PvP takes out enemy troops with an Uzi while letting out a merry laugh. And here's PvP's channel for your rock and roll needs. And OG says, Texas newsflash. Giant backfire Uzi team flying over Houston. Don't vanish, Suzanne.
You don't want to fly over Texas. Everybody has guns. They'll shoot you down.
Yeah, the quantum entanglement isn't powered by electric grid. Oh, there's a reason that balloon didn't go over Texas. You wouldn't have made it that far.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of high-power rifles there. Oh, it's another thing, too. Now that I'm out of kooky California and here in Arizona, it's easy to get a gun and you can carry without a permit. So it's like, yeah, about time.
Are they constitutional carry?
Yep.
Sweet.
The way it should be, the way the Constitution says, right?
Yeah, that's what we have too.
Right, no questions asked, as long as you don't shoot anybody, just the way it should be.
Hey, an armed society is a polite society.
That's right.
And Scurvy here says, I don't have a blank, I have several. Hey man, I took them all out. They wanted to see the lake there, and I had an accident while on the lake, and they all fell overboard.
Oh, shame.
What?
All of them? All your fish?
No, oh my God, I took them
Oh.
out on the lake, and they
Your
accidentally all fell
guns.
overboard.
Your guns. What? Why
What?
did you have all of your guns with you?
Never mind.
No, it's an old joke that anytime they come looking for your guns wanting serial numbers, say, oh, oops, I went fishing last week and all my guns fell overboard. You can go trench the lake if you want. Right.
get it now.
Like, why would you take your guns fishing? Right.
Some of those fish might be looking at you funny.
Maybe they have flying fish. Older Greg says, a good start, Lemon.
Well, yeah, I guess some of the fish are mud skippers.
I don't want to show stream elements. There we go. So here's where the keeper reminds Dr. Smith that basically it's all his fault. So he's convincing Dr. Smith to convince the Robinsons to give him Will and Penny in exchange for their safety of him recapturing all his monsters.
I like what's going to be his label if he's kept as a exhibit. Foolish Earthman, low intelligence level, has little regard or loyalty to its kind. The specimen must be regarded as the worst example of its species.
Oh,
Yes, and that look on his face, it's like a child, right? Yeah, it makes sense. I think the way he emotes the reactions, and I was always a fan. It's almost like they had 3 children in the Robinsons family. And of course, you may have some value, very little, but some value. And of course, Smith immediately jumps on that. Oh, indeed, I could, sir. And here's where he tries to use, and this was actually pretty good. Smith at first does definitely hesitate on giving up the kids, which I do like that. So is it out of compassion for the kids, or because he knows what Professor Robinson and Don will do to him? So maybe a combination of both.
Good point.
And of course, he tells him he didn't release all of my animals. So we got one big one hiding in here. And don't worry, it's held by a force field. And we didn't get the slide, but it shows Dr. Smith looking and screaming in fear. Us, as the audience, we don't see what it is. We just hear the noise and Dr. Smith's reaction when he sees it. And he basically tells Dr. Smith, you're going to be in that pit with that monster if you don't go get the kids. But not in those words, but much more eloquently written.
Yeah. Throw him in the pit. I want him in the pit. Let's throw him in the pit.
And here's where we have, yes. And this is what I was mentioning earlier about the theme of this episode being self-sacrifice. So we have Judy comes up with the idea, what if her and Don go and offer themselves as replacements for Will and Penny? And Don does agree with it, which is a good idea. I thought this was written well too, because I like the keeper's reaction when they go to turn themselves in. I'll cover it when we get to that scene, but I think they handled it well, and it makes sense what the keeper would say. It's sad to say, but it does make sense. It's much easier to put something in captivity the younger it is. But I'm glad to see that she's willing to sacrifice herself and Don as a couple. And like I said, Don's willing to do it too, so that's no problem. So these are being ready to protect the family. And they're all, another thing I haven't mentioned too is, with the exception of Penny, a lot of them are getting a lot of lines, a lot of screen time in this episode. Penny does eventually, some, but they seem to be balancing it out pretty well in this episode. Go ahead, Gorilla.
All right, just a sec. Now notice how great of a manipulator she is. She can guilt trip the hell out of him, man. I wish I had that kind of skill to guilt trip someone like she did.
Well, he's enamored. He's enamored with her, so I'll put it that way. So when you're in love, you know.
But she still was able to guilt trip him.
You wish you had the skill of guilt trip.
All right, I'll show this one. Lemon Pie says, Gorilla likes to be prepared when fishing for any danger. Oh, got it, the joke. Yes.
Oh, Jill went away?
She'll be back. I'm sure she'll be back soon.
I'll be back.
I am like super dehydrated. I need to get something to drink eventually.
I'll go get... You can get someone a drink there. I got my Mountain Dew right next to me though.
Well, maybe when you guys are talking, I don't want to leave a bunch of dead air.
I hope PvP comes back.
Do you think he will?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
wonder what happened.
It's probably relying on his internet connection. He's probably there patiently waiting for it to come back on, I imagine.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
I'm going to strangle that dog, I swear. So this is where Judy and Don decide, yes, they're going to go ahead and go see the keeper and offer themselves in exchange for Will and Penny. And of course, Dr. Smith, under no honest circumstances, is presenting his idea to Professor Robinson of why it's logical to give up the kids, which upsets Professor Robinson, and justifiably so. And then Dr. Smith says, basically, no, hear me out. And he gives him his reasoning. And of course, just like the typical manipulative Dr. Smith, when Maureen walks in, he assumes that Professor Robinson wants to have a discussion with her, which is what unfolds. That is what happens. So here's where Maureen and John, Professor Robinson, decide they're going to go also sacrifice or give themselves offered to the keeper in exchange for the kids. So to get this straight, everybody, we have Don and Judy separately, and then we have Professor Robinson and Maureen separately offering to go in exchange for the children. And this is the scene I referred to a few minutes ago where I really like the way it was written, where the keeper tells them that you're, without saying you guys are too old, he just says you're too independent. The children are much younger and they can adapt to captivity much easier. It's sad to say, but it is true. And he tells them that they will be, since they're adults, they'll be constantly looking for ways to escape. So he basically doesn't want that as a headache. Even though Professor Robinson and Maureen promised them they won't try to escape, the keeper's already got his eyes set on those kids. Hopefully I described that correctly. That's, by the way, that's not verbatim with the script. I'm just trying to sum up the scene.
That's what I do too.
You're even worse than some of your animals.
Yeah, that
That'll
was a
teach
good
him.
line. Well, what they're doing here is they're showing him that humans have compassion. Something. It's always funny when aliens are like, "Wait, compassion? Humans have that?"
Right.
It's shocking.
I know it's an old trope, right? We see that on every show, every movie almost.
I'm glad it's an old trope. Humans need to start getting the freaking hint.
Right, like Planet Nine from Outer Space.
We're going to keep doing that trope, humans, until you get the message. Humans, start showing some compassion, and we're going to run that trope into the damn ground. Thank you, humans.
Well, that's because we're a warrior race.
Not all of us. Some are bent on destruction, but not all of us.
Well, some
least
are
in my
bent on
opinion.
destruction, and the rest of us are bent on preserving our peace and prosperity and freedom.
Russia?
They're on the destruction side.
Well, I honestly, just like China, I don't think it's the Russian people that are necessarily are antagonists. I think it's the governments that are conflicting over power and land and greed. I think when it comes to the countries, I think most people are generally the same from what I've always learned, but I could be insane. They usually go by whatever their propaganda has been feeding them. That's why propaganda is so heavy during wars. It's because the government has to convince the people to hate the enemy, because the people normally would not. They'd be like, what are we doing over there? What are we in a war for?
Yeah.
So propaganda is a very powerful tool, unfortunately. And there it is. There it is. They knock over the staff again.
He did it on purpose. Like, fuck, it was like an FU.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. The keeper told Professor Robinson and Marini wasn't interested because they'll just try to escape. And as they're leaving, Professor Robinson knocks over the staff, which of course deactivates it, which releases the force field, unleashing the monster down in the pit.
Yeah.
And it looks like we get it. According to the book, it's a tentacle. I don't know. I thought it was a claw, but it could be a tentacle.
I thought a claw too.
Here, I'll read chat if you want to get something to drink.
Well, what's interesting, the claw is what was written in the script, so this is probably what ended up being tentacle.
Claw or pincer.
Oh, sorry, I meant tentacle in the script, and it ended up looking like a claw. That's what I meant.
It does. It's a
Or a
spider,
pincher.
so that makes more sense.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead, Gorilla.
I'll read chats if you want to get something to drink real quick.
Thank you. I'll be right back. I'm
Yeah.
gonna mute this so you guys don't hear my dogs making their noise.
After this
I'll be right
word
back.
from our sponsor.
I don't know. I don't
Battles-
like the dogs.
Yeah. Basil says the dog wants to join the panel.
You know, that's Rocky. You know what he does? He hides under the bed right out of reach where I can't reach him, and then he just barks every 30 seconds so I can kill him. I'll be right back.
Need a spray bottle.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. PvP turned himself into the keeper. Scurvy says, what did happen to PvP anyhow? We don't know. He just dropped out all of a sudden.
Well, if he
And-
returns, I'm sure he will tell us.
And Basil pronounced it right. He says Minnesota. Minnesota.
Mm.
Oiler OG says, I don't think the keeper will accept him and his robot girlfriend as a couple. OG says, if you leave the panel without explanation, you are fair game for jokes. Yeah, well, you're fair game anyhow, even if you're still on the panel. Here is Captain Infinity's channel for the random live streams.
Captain Infinity's panel. What?
All right, Basil says, you never know, OG. The keeper is a
Strange being.
He says, vote for the keeper in 2024. No, OG, I'm voting for Asteroid 2024.
Should be one in 2032.
2029.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the Apophis.
Is it Apophis?
I think it is. Someone can fact check.
Oh,
me
you're
on that.
right. You're right. Okay, so I was thinking 2036. That's also Apophis.
Yeah.
If it comes back around. If it misses us the first time.
All right. Oh, OG says the claw. And Basil says, OG, how was the horror convention? And Basil says, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Scurvy says, PvP finally learned how to become pure eggnog, an unnatural ability of the dark side. Yeah, Basil says, hey, Pops, congrats. I'm glad to hear the radiation is finished.
Thank you, Basil. So am I. The less zapping, the better. Thank you.
And then OG says, it was cool, Basil. I keep wanting to say Brazil.
Yeah, it's definitely Basil. There's no R in there.
Yeah,
So here's where, of course, Dr. Smith is already thinking that nobody's going to return. So and now he's convincing the kids to go sacrifice themselves. So we have everybody at the keeper ship at different times offering themselves. And out of self-sacrifice, once again, the kids do volunteer to do it, which is, I think, is quite good. That's quite an adult thing to do.
Actually, he tells them to go and cry and that their tears will save them.
Because it works for him, right? Never fear, Smith is here. There we go. I think that's the second time we've gotten that line, second or third. Of course.
There's the line twice. Yes.
Jill, did they say that in the new Lost in Space?
I haven't watched the new one. Oh, wait. I have watched the new one. I don't know. Because I watched the new one first. I didn't pick up on the things that they cribbed.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I watched, I think, the first season, and it just wasn't my thing. But I'm just wondering how much they did lift directly from Jonathan Harris's creation. I'll put it that way. Because I know they had Dr. Smith's character, but I'm wondering how much they took from Jonathan Harris.
They certainly didn't have any cute giant iguanodons.
Unfortunately, I know that was another disappointment. That's the only reason. Another reason why I didn't get past season 1. I know this isn't Star Trek, But this is the more fantastical science fiction. This is more like along the lines of Forbidden Planet. And in my opinion, and at least in my mind, up in my head,
Yeah,
there's room
if the
for both
show
kinds.
sets if it sets itself up as more fantasy, then I accept it as that. It's
Yes, because it can still be equally entertaining.
Lost in Space is not a documentary.
And here's where the adults arrive back to Jupiter 2, only to alas find out that the kids are not there. So they come to the conclusion the kids must have went and sacrificed, or not sacrificed, but offered themselves in
Yeah,
exchange for
this
the
is the
family.
part I like, and I didn't know it wasn't in the initial script. where,
Yes, and I'm so
Marine-
glad they changed it. Yes, and this is the best part of the episode here. Yeah, because like I said, I had seen this episode so many times, and I had never known that in the original script they didn't show the keeper at all in the third act. And it's like, wow.
This is essentially what should happen every time, because that's what a mother would do. Is like, what, my kids? Let's go get them.
Right. Instead of saying, "Oh, your dad will worry about that."
Let the mama bear come out. Unleash the fall bear.
And of course, Dr. Smith can't even make it all the way there without complaining about his feet being sore.
Well, yeah, Santa's in his shoe. That'd be complaining.
Yes. Well, yeah, but it's Dr. Smith. He's always going to find a reason to complain. I'd rather have sand in my shoes than rocks.
I'm just these make me so happy.
I noticed they added the cute little horns to lizards. That's nice.
Yes.
It's a bicorn.
And I'm glad they matched the background, so it does match Lost in Space. Depending, I don't know what movie they pulled it from. There's so many that Irwin Allen had done, but I'm glad they went to the effort of matching the background. Or they may have filmed this for this scene, for this episode. That I don't know. I did not see that in the book. Because the backgrounds, in my opinion, they look almost exact.
Yeah, it looks great to me.
No,
It might be a little bit more deserty than normal.
Less mountains, maybe. Yeah, because obviously they've been on the same planet the whole first season, and in the first few episodes, first I'd say 5, they really focused a lot on mountains, especially with the rocket pack. So we see less of mountains now. It seems to be more like flatland. And we get to learn a second time. Never Fear Smith is here. He's all confident because he has that ball in his hand.
Well, since they crash land and they're always sticking around the Jupiter, should the background stay mostly the same?
Yep. Unless they have a storm or something, but yeah, you would think it'd stay the same because of the planet. They've established the environment on that planet in the orbit.
Now, you notice that they haven't worried about the season since that one episode?
Correct.
Haven't done what?
He's talking about they're not concerned with the season since the one episode where they go from freezing to burning.
Oh, right. Because of the access of the planet, they've forgotten all about the crazy weather patterns that should be occurring.
Or maybe they still have a crazy weather pattern and they just don't focus on it during the episodes. They might still go in when it's cold or inside when it's too hot, but they don't show it. So that's probably the reason why. Another highlight here is, like I said, this scene was not in the original script. And this is for the entire episode, I think this is the most pivotal scene. And it's a great scene, and it lets Maureen's character stand out. And it gives us second thought about the keeper. So I can't imagine what this episode would have been like without this scene, because I don't know. I said earlier, this is one of my favorite episodes. And out of this episode, this is one of my favorite scenes.
Without it, the way it ended wouldn't have made sense.
Correct. It would have been like rushed, and we would have been like, "What? What happened? Where's the keeper?" And I think it also a lot of it is because of Michael Rennie, the actor. I think he did a fantastic job as the keeper. It's like, what's interesting is I brought it up last week when we watched part 1. Is he starred in the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, and just like in The Day the Earth Stood Still, that's similar to here. He's very formidable. You don't know what to trust behind his eyes, but inside you realize there's compassion. So the characters, in my opinion, are very similar. I don't know if he ever got stereotyped as this type of character or not. I need to really watch a lot more stuff with him in it because I am a fan of his work. How are we doing on chat, Gorilla?
Yeah, well, we got a few here. I'm
Thank you.
just going to read myself here for a second.
Go ahead. I can read them. I've actually got somewhat of a voice tonight. Or Greg says PvP got drink as a nog drink. Drink or drunk? Drink. There we go. Basil says Ola Greg. And Basil says, vote Basil Battle Dragon, President 2024. I promise a keg of beer every week for every American. You got my vote. Ola Greg says, sounds awesome, Basil. Oops, still want stream elements. Lemon Pie says, what kind of beer? That's true. That's a good question. Thank you, Lemon Pie.
Yeah. You better not be getting us no dang Bud Light there.
No, we don't want Bud Light. It's funny though. On a side note, I'll make this quick. All the companies that are getting busted right now in the wake of being woke, because now I heard Best Buy's under the target. I mean, first there was Bud Light, obviously. Then there was Target. Now Bud Light. Best Buy. Basil says your favorite
boycott, but then that means that I've had to shop at these places first.
I'm glad they're being exposed. They need to be exposed. It's wrong.
Yeah,
it's hateful.
Yeah, but none of the places that I shop at I can't boycott because they're all shutting up.
Well, you bought around mostly like mom and pop businesses, right?
Well, there's a few that I go to that are more corporate, but like the closest Best Buy is 6 miles away. The closest Target is 63 miles away. Bud Light, I never drink
My
that.
closest Target is 78,000 miles away.
On the other side of the planet.
And for Bud Light, I haven't drank that since high school.
I've never drank it ever.
Do you drink beer at all, Captain?
Yes, but the beer is such a broad church. I like a nice heavy stout, for example. Lager, that's just piss for teenagers and wankers, isn't it? I drank Budweiser when I liked the Beastie Boys when I was 18. Then I grew up.
So the darker the better?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like the hair.
Yeah, like me, I drink right now, I'm on Fat Squirrels.
You also drank pickle beer the other day, too.
Yeah, that's my dad's actually. I just took a drink of it.
I just don't like beer. If I'm going to give me a bottle of tequila, but I'm off alcohol. Just give me some Ayahuasca or nothing.
Hey, am I legally allowed to send alcohol in the mail?
I don't know. Ask the police. Do I look like a cop?
I don't know. I thought maybe someone down here can answer that.
I will work for menthol cigarettes, by the way.
I don't have Google in front of me, but the way I would word it as a question with Google is, can you sell symbols? Can you send alcoholic beverages through the USPS?
It might depend on the state. I know I can sign up for a wine club, so I don't really know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I've seen booze shipped. Like I can order some from Amazon since you're.
Yeah, but they're registered. They're registered distributors and stuff like that.
So they're registered in whatever state they're sending it to.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And here's where we get the great reveal, which I know this is going to sound childish and foolish and naive, but this is one of my standout favorite scenes out of all of Lost in Space. I always love big monster movies. So I think this is fantastic, the use of the spider along with the miniature of the chariot. And this is the scene where I was mentioning you guys earlier. I said I'll wait until we get to that scene before I bring it up, because they said that this was a laughing stock, the spider, according to the book. But now remember, that's the opinion of the writer of this book. But I thought it worked quite well. It's not perfect, it's not CGI, but the editing, the way it was cut, I thought it looked really good and almost seamless. So I
didn't
really
see a
enjoyed
problem.
this scene. Same here, and like I mentioned earlier. Fantastic music during the scene. The music really stands out, really helps sell the scene.
If anything, maybe it's a bit dark, but I like it.
Well, yeah, and speaking of that, literally, the fact that they shot it to look like nighttime makes it even scarier, almost like a scary movie or a horror movie. And I guess Paul is I'm going to try to pronounce this. The guy who does a lot of the makeup and creature effects, Paul Zastupnevich. He wanted this to be like Christmas for everyone equally. So he was trying to make this look not too dark.
Yeah, this one is not too dark. The last frame was, but this one is better.
Yes. And I will be sharing a photo of him. And I know the cast is because it was due to his last name being Zastupnevich, everyone just called him Paul Z, of course.
This spider, I used to read a lot of Goosebumps when I was a kid. This giant spider reminds me of a kind of monster I'd read about in there.
Which book was that? Because I read a lot of Goosebumps.
I was thinking of the giant praying mantis.
Oh, are you talking about in the second book?
I don't remember what it was called. I had a bunch of them and I read them a bunch. I drew it too. I used to draw the Goosebumps covers, but that's too much information.
I believe too, I think that's the same spider we get to see appear in Gilligan's Island inside the cave.
And probably not as large.
Probably not as large. Well, no, right, because the scale looks different because they're using a miniature. You're right, because it's obviously it's about the size for a person to fit inside. A certain Janos, right, Prohaska. That's why I really, and I know that, like I said, the book thought that the scene seemed like an unintentional joke, but I like it.
This one is the best. Look at this. This one is a good one.
It is.
You can really see him.
And of course, excellent miniature work with the chariot and the miniatures inside. It keeps you distracted. When I was a kid, I never bothered looking really close to see if they were moving on the inside. So the fact that they cut it back and forth from the inside to the outside, I thought was just perfect. At least in my opinion. And that was where they call for help from Professor Robinson. And they tell them they're stuck in the chariot and they're not able to move due to the giant spider. I'm guessing it's a spider.
Yeah, good enough, unless you got the name of the creature in your book there.
Well, just the ones that I read. I don't remember if I mentioned the spider. Let's see. Two-headed bush, Cyclops rubberoid, Gilman's bat.
Okay, that's a better shot of Don taking aim. I mean, yes. Robinson, Dr. Robinson, excuse me.
Right, so and this is great too because obviously the laser rifle has no effect on the spider because Don had already tried that and he told Professor Robinson over the radio that the laser rifle had no effect. So Professor Robinson knew to bring hand grenades. And he decides to toss a few of those towards the spider. I thought the special effects looked pretty good. I think
it did. It reminded me of Jerry Anderson explosions.
Yeah, they do a good. That's the whole thing. When you do forced perspective correctly, miniature explosions look like big ones. When you don't do it right, they obviously look fake. Just like when they show water, it looks really bad if they don't film it just exactly right. And of course, the keeper arrived just in time to ward off the giant spider. I noticed with the lizard and with the giant spider, he doesn't teleport them out of the area. He wards them off, I guess you could say, and they walk away. Hush, hush, pooch.
When I heard him say this in the line, I laughed because I instantly knew what he was talking about.
All the animals are safely in their cages. Oh, yes. Right, and as his personal punishment, he's going to leave the most dangerous animal of all behind.
And he's not wrong.
You're right.
Oh,
These other animals don't lie and manipulate. Go ahead, Gorilla.
I laughed so hard at that. Like, I about pissed myself laughing. Even though I could see it coming a mile away, I still about pissed myself laughing at that.
Yeah, me too.
And just like a child, he's like, let me out of here. Let me out of here. And they're all laughing. So what's good about this too, also, everybody, is as we kind of covered earlier, this certain scenes ended up kind of dark and dour, but it ended up on a light note. So it kind of reminds me of Star Trek, where no matter how bad the episode is, at the end of the episode on the bridge, everybody's laughing. So it did do that. So that resolved. So the next week we'll reset and, we start over again.
Then we get the teaser for the next time.
Yes, then we will get our teaser. And then that's another thing too, is the prelude for next season's episode is like 2 or 3 minutes long. It's actually surprisingly very long in this episode. So they notice that there's an incoming ship on their, I know it's not radar or sonar, I can't remember exactly what they call it. But it's moving at a high velocity.
I just love how completely dramatic Dr. Smith is. It is the end of everything for our little community.
Of course, once again, always looking at the worst.
Screenshot.
And I think this is the first time we got him in his little nightgown, isn't it?
I love the nightcap.
Kind of like Ebenezer.
Is it? I'm not sure. It just fits him so well.
It
I feel like
does.
he's always worn it.
Well, were
Well,
all pajamas in movies like that back in the day?
Sorry, what's that?
I would see this
Well-
in cartoons.
Was it that?
I know, right? You know the
Haven't
last
seen-
character I saw that was enough of a sucker to be wearing one of those nightcaps? Captain Infinity. Ha 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 ha.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Gorilla.
What wasn't that like the standard trope back in the day for all pajamas to be like that?
Oh, no. I was alive back then, and pajamas were a shirt and a pants.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was the
what
fashion
I've
in the
seen.
80s.
Yeah,
The
that's-
1880s.
Yeah, as I was going to say, that's more like the 1800s. That's why I said Ebenezer Scrooge.
He's a man
And
of
also-
culture.
Yes, a man of culture. There you go.
I bet he's got a
so-
bedpan under the bed. Ew.
And if I remember right, I think that may be theirs. I don't know why that.
There he is
wasn't
again.
theirs. Sorry, did I miss something?
No, Gorilla, that guy with the plastic head, I'm not convinced he's altogether human.
And believe it or not, it was actually glass. It's very heavy.
Nexus 6, very clever. Even better, see, I see through you.
So now they realize that whatever ship was showing up on their ship sensors has landed. And Dr. Smith is hoping that maybe it's just an empty abandoned ship. And the robot tells him, no, there are life forms aboard. Can't remember if he says 1 or 2. I don't want to give away spoilers for next week's episode. So now we have the next day where they happen upon the ship that landed the night before, which apparently is the TARDIS because it looks very, very small from the outside, I guess.
Retardus.
But it's like that platform that ship is sitting on. They use that platform many times in this series with the revolving lights going around it. So Don and Professor Robinson enter the ship and they're examining it.
They were really naive to just wander in there like that. I was like, hey, what if this is a trap? And then
I know.
It's a trap!
And it reminds me of almost mirror exact an episode of Gilligan's Island where there was a Russian rocket that landed just off in the lagoon, and the Gilligan and the skipper both went inside, or he sent Gilligan. So here's where we get Dr. Smith presented with another shadow, and he screams in fear and cowardice, of course. And join us next week for the same time, same channel, where we will conclude with the next episode, which is titled The Sky Pirate, starring Albert Salmi. And as a reminder, if it's still there, I hope it's still there. Guys, if you haven't voted in the chat, please feel free to do so. Let us know what you think about this episode. Yes, it is still there. Good. Or let us know what you think about how we covered it, our review of this episode. Either one suits your fancy is fine with us. I'm really sorry I'll apologize for PvP. He was having trouble with his internet, so he wasn't able to be here most of the time. But hopefully they'll have that resolved by next week. Poor Dr. Hibbert. And let's see how Gorilla, are you there?
Yeah.
How are we doing on the chat? Let's do the
No,
chat, and then we'll do our reviews.
Just okay. Scurvy says Tsarist Russian would supply cheap vodka to the masses. They still supply cheap vodka. And OG says I definitely
Vodka.
prefer Steiner Bach, Brazil. And OG said the British Navy had free rum daily for centuries.
Right,
Yeah,
the
well, you gotta
sodomy
keep
and the lash. That's
you
life
gotta-
in the Navy.
Well, you got to keep them happy. You don't want mutiny, so yeah, you have to do whatever you could.
But you won't get scurvy because of all the limes that we've got. Because hence limeys. That's why we're called limeys.
Well, is that why you're supposed to put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up?
There you go. Exactly. You might get your ear cut off, but you won't get scurvy.
There you go. Take your pick.
Yeah.
So kids, you came to the right place for your history lessons.
Yeah. And Basil says Bach is for you, OG. I prefer land shark.
For land shark, Chevy Chase was selling his land shark costume from Saturday Night Live. For anybody who's old enough to remember, like I am, he had an auction. He was selling it a couple of weeks ago. I saw that, and I thought, well, that's interesting.
Wow.
And Basil says, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Gorilla.
Basil says, OG, cheap rum that is. And Scurvy says, St. Arnold's lawnmower. And Herc says, I wear a tuxedo to bed just in case.
Just in case.
There you go.
And OG
Are
says,
you on the Titanic?
yeah. And OG says, danger, danger, arms waving wildly. And Basil says, hey, that'll be 2 cakes a week for the great scurvy. And Basil says, Will Robinson, how many times do I have to tell you to keep your pet on a leash? All right.
All right. So, Captain,
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this episode or not, or what would you tell us what you think about what you saw of our review?
I saw nothing. I'm just here for the nibbles. I thought it was great. Of all the episodes I haven't seen, that one isn't the most recent. But I thought that fucking lizard was amazing. No CGI. Yeah, and I think that guy with the big glass head, he's not necessarily a human. Run the machine on him. Apart from that, great, great two-parter. Everything's set up and payoff, and that indeed was the payoff of the two-parter. That was definitely the second part. Okay, back to you, Pops, in the studio.
Well,
no time travel. A++.
Thank you. And before we go, Captain, tell us about your channel.
It's great. Come and see it. Thanks.
Yes, I will not argue that. I will second that. So, yes, everybody, check out Captain Finity's channel.
Just no more is Deckard a replicant. It's done. Just no more. Apart from that, you can talk about anything, but no more. Oh, Captain, I think you'll find that Deckard, nobody cares. It's over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you spending your time with us.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
All right. Now, Gorilla, what say you? What would you rate this episode?
It's pretty good. It's cool seeing all the different creatures and all that, and it's not like it wasn't like some of these two-parters where the first episode's great and the second part of it flops because they're trying to do too much. You know, you won't get two-parters anymore because if it's just gonna be a longer, we'll just make it a longer episode if we have to there. But so it's kind of nice having a two-parter, but then also kind of sucks where you almost forget what happened last week. You know, but I'm gonna give this all here. And it's kind of interesting to come up with different things, you know, that they could have done. Like, I thought it'd been interesting when they started killing off the creatures there. You just extincted an entire species because that's the last of its kind and not make the guy look out.
Did the keeper say that was the last of their kind? I thought he's got 2 samples of each one.
No, a couple of them were rare, but the rest were like, they're easy to collect them. But, like, it would be cool if, like, not to make him the bad guy, but just to kind of keep it a secret that all these animals here were the last of their kind. That's why he's trying to protect him, you know. And yeah, like they could even set that spot off where he could have been trying to collect Dr. Smith instead of the kids there because maybe Dr. Smith is just looking human, is not actually human, but he's the last of his species trying to blend in with the humans.
True.
Something, you know, and to make him the worthy prey, you know. But anyhow, I'm gonna give this one an A-.
All right. Well, thank you. And tell us about your channel, Gorilla.
Well, I do three watch parties a week. Justified on Wednesdays, Babylon 5 on Saturdays when I get home in time, and then Sundays. Like this month, we were doing songs made into movies there. So I still got to come up with 2 more movies there. Let's see if Jerm has someone that he wants to watch there. The next month will be Robin Williams. Then me and Germ and PvP do a review of Walton there on Fridays. So I do a bunch of shorts. Like last night, as soon as the tornado sirens went off, I went outside and I just took a short of the sirens going off.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, but I've been doing. I'm still trying to get to do the. I got to find time to do the comic shorts and the stuff. So there's that, but all right. And then I got to reschedule the cringe stock I had to cancel, where I'll be making PvP suffer through Sausage Party.
Okay, and that is a cringe. So yeah, if you're looking for something cringe worthy, that's definitely on the top of the list.
Yeah. Oh, after that, it's
I
Frank.
know about top of the list. It's a big old list.
Yes, that is true.
Well, Frankenhooker is also on that list.
Frankenhooker, I like that movie.
Yeah, Gap wanted that one, so I'm gonna make Gap watch that one with me.
Did Gap choose it because he likes it or because he doesn't like it?
Well, I told him I needed something cringeworthy, and they put that one on there, and everybody agreed. So
Well,
I've never seen it.
It may fall into that category. But the director, Frank Henenlotter, I recommend his other movies as well. They're low budget, but they're enjoyable. So it's not like they're low budget and boring. So yeah, it's definitely there would be worse you could cover. And of course, now my computer decides to start hanging up when I'm trying. I was hoping to share with everyone some pictures from behind the scenes. And I don't know why my computer's acting funny because before the stream tonight, that's why I was a few minutes late. Is that typical Microsoft? I'm getting a little wheel going around and around and around, and I even rebooted this darn thing, and it's doing it again. So I'm trying to force quit, and it's not doing that either.
Oh, you made it back out here?
What's that?
There, I got it. So, do you want me to? Oh, I thought you were trying to exit out of the solo layout.
No, matter of fact, right now I can't even open StreamYards.
Oh, you're still on. We still hear you. I can take over from here. Jill says she's away, so I'll make you a large here, Pop, if you want to give your review.
Let me know if it cuts out because it looks like Windows is rebooting, not the computer, but Windows itself. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're here. You're good.
All right. So while I'm fussing with this, I'm going to give the episode I'm going to give it an A+. I really did like it. And like we mentioned earlier, that for a 2-parter, I think it was well written. It wasn't like just one episode just stretched out to pass the time. I thought that it was the writing and the pacing was well done. It seemed like the pacing was satisfactory and good in the first episode. Then it really picked up the beat for the second episode, which is my favorite. That's the way it should be. It should not get more boring afterwards. I don't know what's going on with my laptop. Yeah, this thing better work.
Well, we're still here. Yeah, you're doing good.
I know, but I won't be able to end the stream or do any of that. I wanted to show the preview for next week and all this, and I don't know what's going on with my laptop. Is it like getting hot? I mean, it's not that hot here. Okay, but anyway, yes, I enjoyed it. Like I said, A+ in my opinion. But of course, I'm also, I really enjoyed the first season more than the second or third. I'm not saying the second and third are really bad, but I am very fond of the first season the most. And I think they did a great job having Michael Rennie as the guest star. As a protagonist, he did a great job. Antagonist.
Antagonist, protagonist, goodie, baddie, friend, enemy, same fucking thing.
Windows. Oh, Bill Gates. Oh, my goodness.
Windows everywhere, but not a porthole to look through.
Yeah, if there's one person I could wish a lot of bad things on, it would definitely be Bill Gates.
Don't do it. Don't give in to hatred, pop culture. Wish good things on everybody. Everybody.
I know, but it's disappointing when it happens during a stream, you know, and you're looking forward to
Be
using
the
it.
better angel of our nature, pop culture. You're the gentleman of YouTube.
Yeah, this thing's like totally down to a crawl. And I've got 32 gigabytes of RAM.
You
so
hear
that's
me,
not
Steve Borp? 32. Oh, shit.
I know, but that's the highest the thing will go, unfortunately. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to try just for another minute or so, but I'll give up if it doesn't work. What a pain in the neck. Seriously. I'm not running anything extraneous or extra that would cause extra issues. I've done streams before and not had an issue. It's just tonight.
Well, that's a good track record.
I know, but it's kind of frustrating. We were almost to the end, and I had these behind-the-scenes photos that I took from the book that I wanted to share with everyone. And I also obviously want to show the teaser. Gorilla, you have charge of the StreamYard still, right?
Yeah.
Can you cover? Okay, I just gave my review. Jill, can you give us your review and tell us about your channel?
Sure.
Thank you.
So yeah, I was really happy to finish the second half of the episode. It was a lot of fun. It's usually difficult to complete a two-parter, so this was a good ender. Usually, like you said, they usually peter out, and this one didn't. Smith was in rare form, doing a great job of hiding and screaming, and I had fun with that. And I enjoyed the little sphere that would keep him safe from the animals, just to give him that false courage that he has to have in the episode. That was a great way to do that. And I also enjoyed I mean, I wish we did get an explanation of how the little iguanas got so big. They just got some miracle grow from somewhere and then grew some prosthetics. But it was a lot of good fun watching that. And since Robot will always be my favorite character, I noticed that instead of lightning bolts in this episode, he used lasers.
So, it does, yes. It does change every now and then. They don't really explain, but yes, it does.
No, I'm totally fine with him having lasers every now and then. That's fun. One thing that I enjoyed in the last episode was the use of archaic technology to defeat the Keeper using the slingshot, but they forget about that in this episode.
Yes, they do.
So, but I enjoyed this one, and I want to give it a perfect score, especially given the part where the Keeper's so impressed by the compassion of the humans that he doesn't try to take the children. The only problem is that this is the best aspect of the episode, and it is only implied. It's obviously implied, but I'd have liked at least one line about it from him to spell it out, just one line. And so for that, I'll give it A-.
Which line would you have preferred that they added?
Oh, just something that where he acknowledges that he's realized something about humanity that precludes them from being in captivity. They do it in the cage. The Telosians explain why they realize humans are not good for keeping as subjects.
Yes. Aha. Can you guys still hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
No.
We can hear you.
Sorry, my Windows Explorer just rebooted finally. So now at least I can see my desktop. Good? Before it was just a black screen.
Oh, right. If you stop Windows Explorer, everything stops.
Right, and I don't know why it locked up in the first place. All I was trying to do was open up Microsoft Paint, and as everybody knows, that doesn't use any memory or anything hardly at all. Jill, tell us about your channel. Thank you for the review. By the way.
Sure, I have you're welcome, and I have a channel where I like to celebrate science fiction, Antiderivative Jill, and it's all just for fun, and I On Tuesday, I'm going to review Obsession from the original series. But actually, on Friday, I'm going to have just a UFO episode and just talk about whatever I want. And
You said UFO?
both, yeah, UFO episode, the British TV series by Jerry Anderson.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Sure.
I'm sub to the Gary Anderson channel. It's pronounced
Mhm.
Gary, not Jerry. Is that correct?
Oh, is that right? I've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Well, I'm not sure. I was asking.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
I thought
But
it was Jerry. Well, you know what? Dalek451 always says Jerry, so I think I'm okay.
I think
he's
it's
a
if
British
it has a
guy.
G, I think it's a Gary, and if it's a J, it's a Jerry. I could be wrong. But I'm sub to that channel.
Definitely a GIF with a hard G. That debate is tied and done.
Agreed.
Yes. But
I don't still argue it.
I'm sub to the Gary Anderson channel. Everybody, I do recommend it on YouTube. They talk about the different series that he worked on. Thunderbirds, UFO, like Jill said, Space 999 and all that.
Jerry.
But what's
Jerry
great is they do
Definitely, I think
interviews.
it's Jerry.
Yeah, like Seinfeld, but with a G.
They do interviews with
The
people who worked on the
space
show.
pen, Jerry.
No, I'll skip it.
Sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, Jill. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm good for now. Thank you.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for being here and giving us
You're
your
welcome.
input. All right. I think that's it, everybody. I asked everybody that. Now, as a reminder, if the poll is still there in the chat, everybody,
Yeah, I'm here.
please feel free to vote and give us your opinion of what you thought about this episode. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll.
Yeah.
Well,
Hello.
Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, hello to Canadian Spider-Man in the chat.
Hey, Spidey, how's it
Hey,
going?
Spidey. Oh, Spidey, good to see you. We're just getting ready to close it up here. Sorry about that, buddy. And Spidey, when are you going to have it in the fireside chat? I can't wait.
I've got a fireside going literally right now. And I'm chatting to you. This is a fireside chat, right? Brilliant. It's winter over
There you
here.
go. Okay, I'm getting the poll ready so I can show it up on the screen here.
I'm ready.
At a furnace or an outdoor fire?
Log fire. So just both indoor tiny furnace. Yeah, it's a metal thing in the middle of the room, and I put wood in it.
All right, here's the results of our poll, and it says, what grade would you give The Keeper Part 2? And it looks like we got a total of 10 votes, and 69% gave it a B plus to a B minus, 20% gave it an A plus to A minus, 10% gave it a C plus to C minus, and it looks like nobody gave it a D plus to an F minus, which is a good thing. I'm glad everybody overall generally enjoyed it, and I hope you had a good time spending your time with us tonight. I'm really glad to be back, especially after feeling bad about missing 2 streams last week. So I'm really happy for that.
Oh no, my phone's melting.
Oh, shit.
No,
It's
it's
too
fine.
close to the fire?
It's the darn StreamYards.
It's feeling cozy.
Yes, it's shameful StreamYards. I'm going to try to see if I can share these pictures. These are the ones I tried to share earlier. If my computer doesn't. I got to find out what's going on here with my computer.
You're using Windows. That's your problem.
It is. But look at my options. Unfortunately, I can't afford a Mac.
Someone throw this man some money. Obscene amounts of money.
Well, while you're trying to get those up here, Stream Elements is kindly here advertising Jill's channel here for your reviews, live streams, and more.
Thanks, Jermaine.
Kirk says, knock, knock, who's there? Candygram. Scurvy says, Landshark is a good beer gorilla. Lawnmower is a beer. Yeah. And Scurvy says, the stream and the reviews are an A+ from me. Oh, thank you for that, Scurvy. And the limits, Scurvy says, guest appearances by Jill, PvP Captain, were a delight, as well as Pop hosting and co-host Gorilla. 1 out of 8.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience.
Yeah. And you are my obsession. I don't know
My
if I
obsession. What did it take you with me to make you sleep with me? You're my obsession. Oh, speaking of obsession, Hey, Jill, that book arrived.
Which book? Oh, linear algebra. Hey, that's
Is
pretty
that the one
great.
you recommended?
Is
Look,
it?
it's
Is it Gilbert
forbidden
String?
fruit, not for sale in North America. You can't have this.
Oh no, the one I have is Gilbert String, but I'm sure this one is good too. It's all
Oh,
if
yes,
it's math, it's
Strength.
all
He's
it's all the
next. Will
same.
this do?
Yeah, that'll do. I'm sure it will.
He's not a linear algebra heretic, is he?
No, he's not. As long as you've got some examples in the book,
I
you're
hope
good
so.
to
It's
go.
a freaking my wrist is breaking right now. Brilliant. I'll let you know when the other one arrives.
Thank you for sharing that, Captain.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Yo, T
Yeah.
always equals C plus open bracket N times X close bracket. Thank you.
But yeah, and I have I still have my linear algebra book if you need any reference pages.
I am going to need help. A lot of help. Determinants.
Now, hopefully this will
Theorem.
work without locking up on me.
Matrix arithmetic.
So here we have a few behind the scenes photos from the book, from the making of this episode of The Keeper. So it looks like during a lighthearted moment here with Guy Williams and Michael Rennie. Now let's see how much this thing's going to fight with me on trying to switch pictures. Let's see here. Yeah, my computer's just not acting up to snuff tonight. I'm going to have to go through it and see what's going on. I know I've got virus protection and all that garbage, even though I don't trust it, but I still have it. All right. Bear with me, guys.
All right, well, he's doing that. Canadian Spider-Man says, "Hey, everybody. Hey there, Anti-Jill.
It sounds like I'm anti myself.
It is winter in New Zealand, apparently, although I've not seen it with my own eyes. You guys
It's a
rock.
round planet. I tell you what, though, winter doesn't matter, but elementary linear algebra does. You know, linear algebra. You know that's everywhere. It's in the air that you breathe. It's there when you do your taxes.
Yeah. And Spidey says, "You guys rock. Fire, fire, fire. Soon we'll be able to have bonfires here." Cool. Kirby says, "Hey, Canada, man." Yeah, Spidey says, "It's so warm here. Summertime. Good to see you're still here, eh?"
Yeah.
Yep, all right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. All right, let's see here. I got a couple more, I think. My computer's acting funky, so I'm having to do this manually one at a time rather than just using one app and switching out the pictures. But let me see here. I don't. As far as I know, could have been my mail program that's screwed up.
We'll make it through. It'll be all right.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there, guys. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, that's an oncoming train.
There it is. Going
Well,
to
you
the
know what?
light.
You know, oh god. There's one guy who's seen a dark tunnel. One guy seen a light at the end of the tunnel. The third one realized they're standing at a bunch of railroad tracks. And conductor said three idiots standing in the middle of the railroad tracks.
All the same to him.
And Scurvy says the eighth was applied to how much longer reviews ahead. 1 out of 8 parts. Oh, maybe I thought you were talking about an eighth of weed or something. And Scurvy says more indeed.
All right. I think I have one more picture.
I did notice that lemon pie. I was getting prepared for a big review, and then it never came, and I forgot about it.
I was thinking, well, usually when someone says like 1 of 8, that means they have enough to say because you're only allowed like 150 characters.
200?
No, it's not that many. I can guarantee you that. Because I never have 200 characters to say in a single chat.
You can't guarantee me that. I do Saturday Night Star Trek. I think it's 200.
Hey, I'm checking right now.
And this is the man I mentioned earlier, Paul Zestanovich, or as they finally called him on the set, Paul Z. So this is the mastermind behind the costumes and creature effects on Lost in Space, the original series, as well as obviously Irwin Allen's other projects like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Time Tunnel, and Land of the Giants, among others. All right. I'm glad I was able to show those pictures. I'm going to do a little bit of working
It's
on my computer
180,
tonight.
Jill.
It's 200 on mine. Mine says 0 out of 200.
No, what are we talking about? Twitter or what?
YouTube.
chat. YouTube chat says 0 out of 200 for me, but only
Got it.
180 for Gorilla for whatever reason.
Oh, it likes you better Jill for some reason, I guess, huh?
That's because she's a woman.
Right.
Right. And it knows.
I go to Saturday Night Star Trek and I need all my letters.
Oh, wait, it's different on the laptop. It's different on the laptop than on the phone. I noticed that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how are we doing on the chat, Gorilla?
Just two here from Spidey.
All right, thank you. If you can cover that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we stopped dealing with AIDS a long time ago. Here in British Columbia, we deal with weed in pounds. Maybe you do, Spidey. When you get down to less than an ounce, it's time to go get more. Gorillas, hello to you and to the captain. So glad to hear your voices live.
Oh, well, I'm glad to have you here. And Basil, I got your message, and I'm going to do that now. Basil, let me find your name in the chat. I'll make you a wrench. That way you can go ahead and drop a link to your chat if you'd like. There it is. Add the moderators. All right. Your wish is I granted, Basil. You are now a moderator. Okay. And is that all the chats, Gorilla?
One more. Scurry says, "Yeah, Pops, I'm quite in good shape."
Scurvy.
Thank you.
You'll
I'm
always
getting
be
there.
lemon to me.
All right. And I want to remind everybody, thank you. Thank you once again. I really appreciate you guys being here, spending your time with me. And most of all, to everybody on the chat, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. And if you did, consider hitting the like button on the way out. And if you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing to my channel. You'll find me tomorrow on Jill's stream, which will be at approximately noon Central Time, where we're going to cover the TOS episode of Session. And then tomorrow night on my channel, at last, we're probably going to cover the fantastic, excellent, classic Metropolis from 1927. And then Wednesday, Gorilla and I will be back with 2 more episodes of Gilligan's Island. And I think I've covered everybody. I loaded everybody in the chat. And I want to make sure if I overlook any of your chats or your names in the chat, please let me know. Yell at me, and I will bring it up. I usually try not to do that. So if anything was missed, believe me, it's unintentional. We do try to cover all the chats on our channels here.
We're nothing without the chat. You know that.
I know. I was on a big channel earlier today. They were doing a stream, Midnight's Edge. I remember in the early days where they would read your chats. And now, once again, they're just like the others, not unless you pay them money. It's like, I guess that shouldn't matter to me, but I don't know. That doesn't mean that when I bring up a point, it's not important. But with that, thank everybody once again. And we're going to leave with our teaser of next week's episode. Hope that, and that this should work because I did all this before tonight's stream and my computer started messing up. So I think we'll be fine. And like I said, please join us next week. This time, same channel, Pop Culture Curator channel for Lost in Space stream. We're going to be covering the episode Sky Pirate. And here we go.
There's a very dangerous man on the hill with the boy. He's going to kill all of us unless you kill him first.
That's the thing from Signet 4.
It's coming through the force field.
This is the end tonight here.